Are you living the Delaware Beach lifestyle? You can't live at the beach and do nothing. This up-and-coming year-round area has lots to offer. Find out where to eat, play.
Hey guys, welcome to the 302 Lifestyle Beach Podcast. Today, I have the 302 Lifestyle sharing with you some tips and tricks on business. I have been blessed. Daisy and I actually got to fly to Phoenix, and we love to go to different places a few times a year. We have some coaching going on where we learn things, learn how to become better leaders, better people in our lives. And it's always good to just learn from people that are have gone through something. Well, in this particular case, we have already been through a lot of the programs and systems and processes that we've learned to improve our business. And we got a chance to sit in front of I think like 30 to 50 other business owners and share with them some things that have worked for us. And I thought you guys might be interested since a lot of you guys are business owners or have experienced something like this in your life. And so here's the opportunity to see what has worked and not worked in our cleaning company. So stay tuned, guys. Here's a clip now.
Go ahead, Bob.
Before I throw this on, I'll throw my 2 cents in. One thing that we get a lot of information. We've been doing this, I guess we've been in the program for about 7 months, and it seems like we're always on information overload to a certain degree. And I don't want that to become an excuse, but I think what I need to do is I need to release more of, sometimes I let it all well, it's on my shoulders. I got to handle it all. Where what's interesting, and I found this out, I wish I could take credit for it, but I found it out by accident. A lot of my management team or supervisors, they're all curious what we're learning. Mm-hmm. So when Terry and I go away and what's going on? What are we going to see all this? What's going to happen? And so much of it, so many times I'm holding on to it, hiding in my office, trying to figure everything out when all I have to do is talk to them. And I was shocked to see they're growing faster than I am. And so they're actually trying harder to prove to me that they're worthy and they're a core value match and all the things we've been trained. But sometimes I hold on to that information too tight, and I probably need to be a better leader, I guess. And I suppose it takes me a while to catch on, but you guys have been telling me that, and we're getting there.
The flip side of that is that's not an accident. So the way Bob kind of presented it was, I just happened to have these employees that were really committed to my business and really desperate to learn and do better. Like, who would have known? Like, lucky me. Like, no. And by the way, if you want to, I'll give you good questions to ask all of them to maximize your time. Have Bob and Terry tell you their story. They did not inherit this beautiful culture of a business. Financially, I don't remember. I don't think it was great, but I remember culturally it was a mess, which I should have known. If it's culturally a mess, you're not doing well financially. But everything they built, it's one thing for all of us who just had kind of no culture because it was just us, and then we built it. That's one thing. But to take over a cancer-ridden business from a culture standpoint and get rid of the cancer and then turn it into a real community is a big deal. So I love your transparency and like, man, I'm kind of hoarding it. I've got a really good team around me. I need to do a better job being an information like hub, not a stopping point or warehouse. Good. Fine, I'll go with that. But we also have to go with, that's the easy part. Taking the crap we talk here and share with your people, that's super easy. You glossed over the hard part of, I've got to have a group of people that are really committed to the business and want to learn and will do anything to please me and live the core values. Like, yeah, that's the hard part. You just best way to make a $1 million in the oil business is you start with $1 billion. So you've got the $1 billion and you're worried about the easy part of just sharing it. So excellent share, buddy. Thank you.
I was going to say, when I first started out, I had a bunch of naysayers, and I'm sure you guys probably do it this time too. But, I started out, I just told Mike I was making $1,400 a month, but I started because my mother-in-law thought it was a dumb idea. So I'm like,
so you knew you were onto something.
I was like, screw you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. Cause number one, we had a baby boy that was just being born. I'm like, I got to support him somehow. Had a college degree in 2011 with no one wanting to hire me. And so I was able to just push and bulldoze my way to, a decent, a comfortable amount of money, But for me, talking with Mike and having him keep talking about the piles of money, I remember him saying that the first time, like, piles of money. Like, what in the hell does that mean? Like, I'm like, I picture Scrooge McDuck just like backstroking through it. You know?
Exactly what I was trying to communicate. Perfect.
And I'm just like, man, I don't know what this pile of money thing is, but it really takes the mindset side of things to really push you forward, because I think once you hit a certain point that you're like, okay, I'm comfortable, I can pay my bills. It takes an extra bit of mindset to clarity to say, okay, I can accomplish more. I can make more money. Doesn't matter what my parents have made or my friends make. I can make as much as I freaking want to make. So that's the big thing that was huge for me. So.
Yeah, we were just talking at lunch. I forgot the numbers, right? I know I'm so clear on where Spencer is now. I can't even remember a couple of years ago, Spencer, like that. I didn't even recognize him. But we were talking about he's 3/4 of the way to making what he wanted to make in a year, making every month. And honest to goodness, it's like, well, what are your systems? What's holding them back? And we can talk about all that. But I think it's really like, can I really make that much? My parents didn't make that much. That's impossible. I'm not worth that. And it has, obviously we'll work with systems and processes, but first and foremost, and that's why there's so much Tracy involved is, I'm bringing that much value to the world. Little old Spencer, whose mother-in-law thinks he's a big dummy or whatever the case may be, is worth that. Go ahead.
But guess who took my money to watch my kids when I left?
Yeah, exactly. Big dumb Spencer's writing checks all of a sudden. He's so dumb no more. And if there's any clarity when he's talking about piles of money, I think what he's talking about is the concept I was kind of referring to earlier is we got to know when we move from I'm earning money to pay my bills, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've been there a lot of my life, to put it with the pile. So I think it took our second sale more than our first, but at some point I got to the point where, I was talking with some of the people there's like 3 or 4 people that are joining Next Level, but we invited as our guests. And I was like, I don't need the money. I really don't care. There's a point in my life, and we're hopefully, I'm pretty sure most of these guys are, you guys are moving, or moved to put it with a pile. Like when a customer quit or signed up, it had nothing to do with me. Like I'm going to spend the shirt costs $12. I think I got these at Nordstrom Rack, these shoes for $40. So whatever our lifestyle is, it is what it is. But our what we spend every year to live is this, and our income's more than that. So as soon as you get a nickel over that nickel goes with the pile, right? So we got to make that distinction before, when it's like, if I don't go out and kill it and hunt it and drag it home, my wife and baby will be homeless. I can't have that. Not as much of a fun pressure, but that's a reality. If that's where we're at, that's okay. We're not here to judge, but when we move to put it with the pile, so there's if I don't do it, I don't get to live here, do this, experience that, give, if that's important to you. We just need to know when we transition from that to the put it with the pile money, where if we sold this thing or we doubled our company and doubled our income, we have a pile of money that's sitting in a giving or whatever account, and we just put more in it. It has nothing to do with our day-to-day life. So when I talk about put it with a pile, you just need to know when you've made that transition and you don't live. It would be appropriate for my mother-in-law, if I'm not paying rent, to go get your lazy ass out of that bed and go to work and feed my daughter, like get to work. Now, when I forget we were talking earlier, like, what do I do that I want to do? I'm like, very, very little. And it's not because I have that much money. It's because even if you're a nickel in the put it in the pile mode, or $1 million or millions of dollars in the put it in the pile mode, as soon as you're clear of, I'm really working for impact at this point. I would like to serve more people. It's just a different vibe. So I just want everyone to be clear, when you get to the put it with the pile mode, you don't act like you're still in my family's going to be homeless if I eat mode. And it took me, I got into put it in the pile mode way earlier before I started living with it. And that's what I'm trying to save you guys from, so we can be clear. And again, Bob and Terry, I think you guys are put in the pile mode. If somebody quits, you're fine. If you get a big account, you're fine. Like it is what it is. So that's great. And for you guys to go, I got to do this and I'm stupid and I'm not growing fast. That's insane, right? So that's what I'm trying to save you guys when we talk about put it with the pile mode is, if you're in put it with the pile mode, don't live like you got to, don't beat yourself up like you're not. That's all. So, and I like how Spencer translates that to piles of money like Scrooge McDuck. Okay, we all hear what we hear. It's great.
I knew you said. What came to my mind. Yeah.
Did that answer your question? Excellent. Really good perspectives, ladies and gentlemen.
Question?
Yes, and then yes, and then yes. So 1, 2, 3. You are quite welcome.
Okay, so I was talking to Dylan and Daisy earlier about some of my issues with my management team. So at this point, I have an office team. There's There's 4 or 5 people in my office, the people in the field. When I'm there, they act like they don't need my help because they're handling it. They're hired to do the things that they're doing. But then if I try to step back a little bit and not be as involved, then we're doing it all. So where is that balance? And they thought that you guys have had some issues with employees in these kind of situations of where's this give and take, and where's that balance to where everybody's happy? I know not everybody's going to be happy, but it's hard as an owner sometimes when you have people that you've hired to find your place of, okay, what am I supposed to be doing if I'm hiring all of you to do this? But then they look at you like, why aren't you helping more? So can you help?
I love, by the way, how you guys seem to be operating with one mind. No words were spoken that I saw, but the box just kind of moved towards Jason. Like nobody said, Jason, why don't you take this? But it's just gravity.
So I think first and foremost is you have to be very clear, and we really messed this up at the beginning. We don't have it perfect. This is something we still somewhat struggle with. You have to make sure that the roles that you hire somebody for are very well defined on what they're supposed to be doing and what your expectation is, that because nobody hits a moving target well. So you have to make sure that that target is defined for that team. We're the opposite. I find that when we leave, and I think I'm empowering them, and with having a conversation with them, I didn't empower them as well as I thought, but they would, when we're gone, they do things. I mean, we literally stepped out, and this last 3 or 4 months, Kim and I have really, we want to get to the point where we can not be in Alaska in the winter if we want to be, if that's what we choose to do. So we took more time this summer or this winter and have been gone. And normally when we're gone, I'm engaging with my team. We have meetings and I talk and I'm engaging and I'll text and I get in and put my 2 cents in. So we purposely step back and empowered them to give them decisions to make it. Then we would come home and then they would ask me all these questions. I'm like, wait a minute, you do all this when I'm not here. What's the difference? So part of the thing is making sure that, wait a minute, when you're not here, yeah, I take care of these because you're not here. But then when you're here, you're more engaged. So I guess it's defining the role of what you're supposed to do and then making them own it and giving them the power to. An example, I have my director of operations. I hate titles. I really do. But whatever that role is, she's client, taking care of the clients was what her responsibility is. When I'm there, I would answer the questions. And when I'm not, I would expect her to. Well, I'm confusing her, right? I'm sending her mixed messages. Is that her job or my job? So I would just say the biggest thing is making sure you define those roles and know whose roles and responsibilities and let them know I'm here if you need me and any guidance and direction. And if they make a decision, the saying we got Monday and we heard it again yesterday, often wrong, never in doubt. You have to make sure that you empower them to be that person too, right? We're all going to make mistakes. You're going to not always make the right decision, but if they do it based on core values and you go back to that and you talk through it, even if it's not what decision you would make, ask them why and talk about it. And you may get a different perspective, but then go back to your core values and have everything done like that. I mean, that seems to be what's really helped us out. And a lot of times you'll be talking about something and they'll bring something up that's a core value. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, I got off base, and they bring you back to base. And that's when you know that you're kind of making a difference. But I think having that roles strictly defined and knowing what they're supposed to be doing as far as what their responsibilities are is where I messed up at first. And I think where we're getting back to and getting those honed in, and those are moving, right? As your business grows and as you move out more, that has to get defined too. I don't know if that helps, but that's what I've really found was where we missed the mark at the beginning.
For example, this morning, I was kind of made privy to the information of a larger amount of accounts need covered than what should be at any point in time. And that we have not had a lead for a new applicant since February 7th. So I feel like that they try to handle things until it's overboiling. And then now I'm trying to figure out, okay, of course, while I'm gone, it's always that way, how to remotely fix it. And so it's frustrating.
When you're talking applicants, you need people, you need bodies.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, if you're, I'm looking at, those are things I look at, the numbers. If you're doing the spreadsheet with Tracy every month, You're seeing those numbers. So you should see the stops and the starts. So if you're tracking your numbers, that would be something I would take personal responsibility for, because I still, I look at my books and my numbers and tracking. We had a problem where almost identical to that. We weren't getting the leads in. And I started looking at them. We haven't hired anybody lately. What's going on? Well, we're not getting the leads. So I went back and looked at the way our funnel was running. They'd made changes. We have a new system and they implemented it with that. Well, we didn't realize the ramification that had. So we had to go to the very beginning and see where the breakdown is. And now we fixed it. And this month we're back up to, we got 75 applicants in January, where the 2 months prior to that, we had 13 and 18. And it was literally in that transition, something got lost. And the fact that I was tracking that and knew where to go look, we found it and fixed it in took us 30 minutes fix. And now our numbers are back up.
Perfect example, by the way, of when you're hiring the people, you know how many you should be hiring, and when it just feels that way, you have no further questions. But when the hires dried up, you did that's a perfect example of what I was trying to communicate earlier. He looked at the step up and that wasn't it. So he looked at the step up and he just kept going upstream until he found, here's the problem. And he was able to pinpoint it as opposed to just, I'm not hiring. And he could have written a whole new hiring. He could just start taking a bunch of random actions that felt like he was moving forward and missed completely. He just kept going upstream. Such a good example.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent answer. All right, I think was Roger next? Or yeah, I think it was Roger and then Chris.
First question, when's Kim going to cry?
Wait, what did he say?
She always gets very emotional, and I like when you get emotional about it. It's a good thing. I like
right
when you
now,
get
apparently. Tracy, you're not doing your job.
She's either going to cry or give you the laser beam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? We missed it? Okay. If you could go back before you started the program, what would you tell yourself?
Ooh, that's good.
Where you are now?
Just trust. Just trust.
Trust
Hold on, I need a
what?
microphone if you're going to talk.
I've heard you guys talk about it before, but I wanted to hear what you say now.
I said, just trust that the program will work.
If you could go back to before you started the program, what would you tell your old self
about the program.
about where you ended up?
Yeah, I think it would just be to trust, because for a while we were like, this is stupid. Like, how is this going to work? And then, so we wasted a lot of time.
And mine goes back to probably answers the question Michael asked too. What could I tell myself? I wish I would have known my worth back then that we found out, I don't know, a year into the program, finding out your worth. We're not just cleaners. We're not just a cleaning company. We had this conversation at lunch, I think, Michael and David and I. And if I would have known that and valued what I did and realized what we brought to the table before, that was, monumental. That was probably the biggest thing outside of the day-to-day technical stuff and the systems we put in place. That's probably been the biggest shift in my mind, is knowing our worth and what value we bring to the table for our cleaners, our clients, our team, all the way across the board, the community that we serve, the difference that makes.
So to follow up on that,
Here.
before Kim goes, how do you do that? So if I'm in the audience, I might be like, I love that. I want to understand my worth, but how do I do that?
Well, it all starts with the core values. That's why I haven't been in the modules in a while, but I think it's the very first thing, right? You've got to start. Depending on where you are in your business, like for us, hiring was my bane of my existence when we joined Mike. I was ready to banging my head on the table. He said, do these and then we'll go here. So he saw that, but the core values, we had to get those, because you can't hire without core values. How can I fix my hiring problem when I'm hiring the wrong people? How can I bring value to clients that don't appreciate me? You know what I mean? They don't appreciate what I'm bringing. Why do I want to collect like that? Why do I want to serve somebody that doesn't put value in what I do? We're hopefully making a difference in their business. We're giving them their lives back. If you're residential, you think, I'm just going to clean their house. No, you're not. You're giving a mom some time with her family or her kids. All the value you bring. And that's because of the team you hire and the people you take on as clients. It all comes back to culture. Once you start building that culture and cultivating it, and you have a team that's all A players, having the people, when you have those people, those problems just go away. You don't need 5 nighttime managers when you have 80 people, because they all show up to work because you're hiring the right people and the culture's there. And the core values literally fix everything. If you use them, implement them, and live by them, and demand your team and hire by it. I don't want to say demand, because you don't have to demand anything from me, but if you hire the right people, that's how you get there. That's how you get feel your value and everybody appreciates you and your team appreciates you. You can take care of them. And it's just the core values to me was the number one key thing for the culture.
Thank you. Much more robust. We got Kim and then Terry. Oh no, let Kim go and then we'll come on.
Mine, I guess, if I knew now going into or right before.
Either.
So I guess if I knew, you think I knew nothing about business before. I was a medical assistant working full time. He was going into that. And to learn the things that I've learned through Grow My Cleaning Company University, oh geez, a whole different person. I mean, it's just, you'll grow leaps and bounds more than you think you can just growing your cleaning company. But what you learn and how your mindset and everything about who you are has just been, wow.
There's your crying.
Yeah, there it is.
Woo!
I'm sorry, it's me.
You gotta get out.
What do I say to myself before that I go to the program, or where he was when I need him the most? Because back in the day, it was like, what am I doing? And so I find this guy, and I don't try to throw a lot of flowers to him because a lot of stress behind. And I'm just kidding. But I will be like, why I don't find this guy before all the haters that I had to go through. Like, I didn't even know how to do anything. My wife, she's not here, but she was the one that throwing all the emails and all the stuff. But if it wasn't for the systems that he talks, and I watch his videos, he always saying like the system. I said, what the heck is a system? And anybody probably like a system is just like what your wife mentioned, like washing your hands is a system. So you wash your hands, you put the soap. There's a system, but I cannot see that. And to you, until I find him and I start studying and start like looking the way that he thinks, it shifted my mindset. Like cleanliness, not just cleaning, you change a lot of people's lives every single time when they show up to work, and all the people that you help around. When you hire the right people, like he said, like with the core values, if you find the right people, this business is like a piece of cake. If you don't have the right core values, the right people in, it's like hell. Can I say that? But when you have the right pieces, it's like you're enjoying it. You love it to be there. You love to help people. And yes, I will be like, why I don't find him sooner. That's my sense.
And these people's talking too. This is like their biggest fear, talking in front of people. So it's awesome, man.
He acts all cool, and you think like, oh, Alonzo, he's super comfortable. He's terrified.
When I'm waiting to, I thought I was gonna get a diploma or something.
Hold on, wait. We gotta get a picture of Dylan with his first podcast with the mic.
Oh my God.
Pretend like you're saying something important. Good enough. It was just a picture, no audio. We're good.
Okay, so something I wish I would have known, or I would have told my old self, was don't be afraid to raise prices. I mean, I agree with everything these guys said, but we had an accountant who retired 2 years ago who was like, hey, this is great. Any piece of the pie is better than no piece of the pie, you know? And then we had a salesperson who retired 2 years ago. Yeah. And she was like, you can't raise them, you'll lose them. So we were so fearful. So when we came in, we were like, there were accounts that we hadn't raised in a few years, you know, and it's hard to all of a sudden go, well, this is where you should be. So that's something that I wish we would have, you know, done every year. So anyway.
I had forgotten about that. I'm literally getting pissed off here. I remember how furious I was when I heard that account. I wanted to wring their neck.
I don't have much to add besides, my marketing degree in college is pretty much worthless because
stay in school, all you kids.
The stuff that I learned from compared to what they, those who can't do teach,
Wait a second, I'm teaching.
Wink, wink, yeah.
Yeah, I'm coaching. Thank you. All right.
Woo. Yeah, it just changed my mind. I'm like, holy crap. It just makes so much more sense adding value and doing all these other things to get customers instead of, I still hear from people, even friends, own companies. Well, I got to kind of con them into doing this. I'm like, come on. Like it's adding, like.
See, he has a college degree and it didn't do anything for him.
And Roger, that's
Thanks,
a great
guys.
question. Hopefully you guys are seeing, we talk a lot about the questions we ask ourselves can really, good questions get good answers and bad questions get bad answers. Hopefully you're seeing that here. Like anytime you're interacting with someone that's got a skill set or something that you admire or whatever, you ask great questions, you get a great answer. So I want to encourage you to build that muscle of asking good questions first to yourself and then to other people. Even works with your kids and my wife here and spouse, by the way. Be cool.
Wish you could spend more time having fun and less time with chores? Go to 302beachtalk.com to get $20 off a home cleaning. You'll be entered to win a completely free cleaning. Eat, play, serve. Sponsored by That Guy with a Broom.